It says, and as he was casting out a demon, and it was mute. So it was when the demon had gone out, the mute spoke, and the multitudes marveled. But some of them said he cast out demons by Beelzebub, the ruler of demons. Others, testing him, sought from him a sign from heaven. But he, knowing their thoughts, said to them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation. House divided against itself falls. And so we see here, it says, and if Satan is also divided against himself, how will his kingdom stand? Because you say, I cast out demons by Beelzebub. In other words, the Lord of the Flies, the king of demons. So he called them to himself, and he said in parables, how can Satan cast out Satan? Number 1, verse 24, if a kingdom is divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And then verse 25, the second thing, and if a house is divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And the third thing, verse 26, that if Satan is risen up against himself and is divided, he cannot stand, but has an end. Now, verse 27, no one can enter a strong man's house and plunder his goods unless he first binds the strong man, and then he will plunder his house. Surely I say to you, all sins will be forgiven the sons of men, and whatever blasphemies they may utter. Now, verse 29, but he who blasphemes against the Holy Spirit never has forgiveness, but is subject to eternal condemnation, because they said he has an unclean spirit. So as we're looking at it, we see that here within this text, it simply says they came to him and they said, basically he's doing this by Beelzebub. It says that then one was brought to him who was demon-possessed, blind and mute. You understand that when Luke says that he was simply just mute, it doesn't mean that he wasn't blind too, but as Matthew says, and one was brought to him who was demon-possessed, blind and mute, and he healed him. Jesus healed this man who was demon-possessed. So the blind and the mute man both spoke and saw. And all the multitudes, now here's the key. This is where both Mark and Luke doesn't share this, but you have to understand why they're trying to say that he's doing this by Beelzebub. Because in Matthew chapter 12, verse 23, the multitudes were amazed and they asked this question. Note this. Could this be the son of David? Is he the Messiah?